Well, I suppose we all know that many people will be celebrating love tonight. It's hard enough to meet someone, but how do you protect yourself from online romance scams and, of course, predators? Well, to help spot the fraudsters, let's chat now to Anna Collett. She's Managing Director at KnowB4 Africa. Anna, good evening, and thanks so much for your time. So let's talk about, what could happen to those who might be looking for love in the wrong places today.
Yeah, so the problem is that, a lot of people, they have this misconception that it's only old ladies or gullible people that fall for romance scams. But it's actually it's an epidemic. There's like 26,000 scammers that are currently actively operating, and it can hit anybody, like literally anyone who's out there looking for love may be targeted. It's, even though 60% of the victims are females, it can happen just as much to a male, regardless of education or background.
Bring it home for us, Anna. Just give us some examples of what some of the scams are out there. What are people falling prey to or falling victim to?
So the typical scam would look like something, what they do is they set up multiple profiles. They use fake photos or sort of, photos that they bought or that they've stolen from real people that they bought on the dark web. And they will often pretend to be high-ranking military officials or people that work in the diamond trade or something with status. Often doctors, like 37% of the scammers pretend to have a doctorate or a PhD. That's a red flag, by the way, so which is not great if you're a real doctor looking for love. But and then what they do is they are quite aggressive in terms of proactively contact you. So they will sort of reach out first, and then they will try very quickly to progress the relationship to a more serious level. They will also then, and this is again, it shows to, it shows that they're running multiple scams. So they will very quickly try and get you out of the dating app or the social media network to communicate with them on a private chat or private email. Because they're running multiple scams, they run the risk of being reported and their profiles might get blocked. And then what they do is they initially will start trying to get you to help them with small little, money requests like, oh, I need a webcam, or, oh, geez, I really need a little bit of help. And psychologically what happens if you have fallen for it and there's emotions involved, as soon as you send them a little bit of money, you like on the hook, because like psychologically you don't want to tell yourself I'm being conned. Yeah. So it's much easier for them to then ask even bigger amounts.
So is it always about money though, Anna, or is it other things? Could it also be, even more dangerous things? Are we seeing people who are asked to meet in person? Are we seeing physical attacks? Could this lead to things like human trafficking? Is it just about money?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think that in general, anybody could be behind these profiles. So you don't know. You're dealing with a stranger that could set up the most beautiful photographs of some lady. Meanwhile, there's a pervert or a guy behind it. So when you meet with anybody in real life, only do that in a public place, and have multiple meetings in public places. Check them out, like really sort of try and stalk them to see are they real, like who do they know. South Africa is relatively small, you get that whole concept of like I know somebody who knows you. Yeah. So, and it's fairly easy to identify who these people are once you've met them in real life.
So how do we spot these scams, and what would be the red flags? What are the things we should be looking for?
So first off, if it sounds too good to be true, if it's like model beautiful and then aggressively contacting you and falling in love within the first few weeks, that's just that's a red flag. Then the next thing to do, which I would advise anybody, is to take the photograph as well as, keywords such as the email address or the name, and do an image search on Google. It will show you whether that photograph has been used somewhere else before or possibly belongs to a real person that doesn't even know that they're being used in that profile. And then also ask for, to send more up-to-date photos. If he then says, well, or she, why would you want to see more photos? Just say, oh, your friends and your family are not quite sure, they want to see more. And yeah, like as soon as the request comes in for money, just immediately know it is a scam.
Okay, so it's not so bad sometimes to just, Be alone for a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. And look out for those red flags. Anna Collard, Managing Director at KnowB4 Africa. Just how to spot those online scams where you think you're going to find love, but you're going to find yourself actually broke and brokenhearted.